3, 2, 1.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Azlisya binti Omar, and I'm from CSI 212. Okay, so now I want to talk about O.J. Simpson. Okay, this is O.J. Simpson. Okay, so basically O.J. Simpson is a football star, actor, convicted armed robber, and kidnappers. So O.J. Simpson acquitted for the murders of his ex-wife and her friends in 1994. Simpson was charged with murder his ex-wife and Goldman. Simpson was sentenced up to 30 years in prison. Shortly after being granted parole, he was released from prison on 1st October 2017.
A very good day to lecturer. I'm Visha from CSI 212 program. I'm as a second presenter. We will be presenting about the list of evidence. From this case, I have listed 5 evidences, which is blood, fiber, hair, glove, and shoe. Let's look up one by one. The first is blood evidence. Blood evidence is a blood related to a crime and is used as evidence in court. Blood evidence find out in this case by killer drop blood near shoe prints at Bundy. And also secondly is Simpson had fresh cuts on left and hand on day after murder. Not that also, blood on socks in O.J.'s homes matched recalls. And then just look out for the second evidence, which is fiber. In this case, cotton fibers are consistent with the carpet in the Bronco found on glove at Rockingham and also found on cap at Bundy residence. The third evidence is hair. In this case, hair evidence found out on cap at Bundy residence, and also hair I found out on Ron Goldman's shirt. Evidence is glove. Simpson were arrest light glove from 1990 to 1994 June. Next is left glove found at Bundy and right glove found at Simpson's residence. Aries light gloves which is content size XL. The last evidence in this case is shoe evidence. I found out this evidence by Simpson wore a size of shoe is 12. And I think that's all from me. I'll pass to my next present to continue the presentation. Thank you, Miss. I'll pass to my next present to continue the presentation. Thank you, Miss.
Assalamualaikum to the lecturer. My name is Omar. Today I'll be discussing about the analysis of evidence of the O.J. Simpson case and the murder of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goodman. So I'll be analyzing the evidence itself, to where there will be the physical evidence and testimonial evidence. First, the physical evidence usually are biological blood samples that were found at this crime scene, and the infamous glove, which I will be primarily discussing about, as it is an essential of the case itself and the pinnacle point of it. So first are the blood samples that are found at the murder scene, to where the blood evidence could be analyzed by using a method called the Castell-Mayer-Reagent test, where it can provide indications whether the sample has been collected and identified. First of all, the analysis of the evidence itself. They take a sample of blood and put hydrogen peroxide on a filter paper, to where if it's positive, it will turn bright pink, and it will not turn bright pink if it wasn't. So basically, this would confirm if it was actual blood or not. To where they can after that conduct a DNA test to this to find out if the DNA matches with the glove itself. As the glove we have found, as the evidence of the glove has been found on the scene of the crime, but it was only just a part of the glove itself, while the other pair is hidden inside O.J. Simpson's car. Now the glove itself has been soaked in blood, where after conducting the test, they discovered that the blood on the glove itself has matches in DNA, where they concluded to where the glove itself would fit. Although the glove in the testimony of O.J. Simpson, O.J. Simpson has worn the glove and stated that the glove was a bit tighter than usual. Now, testimonial evidences. We shall move on to the testimonial evidence of the limo driver of O.J. Simpson, to where, when asked where O.J. Simpson was, it did not fit O.J.'s alibi as the case of two people breaking into O.J. Simpson's house, where it turned out to be not true, as O.J. Simpson was not in the location during the time. So that's all I'm discussing. Thank you very much, and I'll move on to my next presentator.
The murder case of O.J. Simpson is criminal trial held in Los Angeles Superior Court. The case is on two murder charges over the deaths of his ex-wife Nicola Brown Simpson and friend Ron Goldman on June 12, 1994. On the morning of June 30, 1994, Brown and Goldman were stabbed to death outside a condominium in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles. Simpson is a man interested in the murders. He then turned around, and on June 17, he became the object of a lawsuit charge in a 1993 Ford Bronco SUV owned and driven by his friend Al Conley. The pursuit, arrest, and trial conducted as Simpson were heavily followed and were among the most widely publicized events in U.S. legal history. Its development was widely followed by many media outside for 11 months since the jury had in on November 9, 1994. The opening statement was made on January 24, 1995, and the verdict was entered on October 3, 1995. Simpson's conviction was acquitted of two murder charges. There may be no other case in U.S. history which is more polarized than O.J. case Simpson. The NFL star was charged with the murders of his ex-wife Nicola Brown Simpson and friend Ronald Goldman in 1994, and the subsequent trial was one of the most broadcast events in history. O.J. was eventually found not guilty despite a wealth of DNA evidence and the oxygen-speaking jury evidence. Will sit on Saturday, July 22, sought to make a controversial decision. During the investigation, O.J. side was shocked by the police and the trial. There were many surprises. Here are the 5 most surprising facts from O.J. Simpson murder case. Number 1. The murder was more honest than you imagine. Nicola and Goldman were found in the blood group. Both victims were stabbed in the neck, head, and chest violently, and Nicola attacked her spine and even attacked her spine. Number 2. Nicole discovered the scene. They lay alone for hours before they were found by the dog. Number 3. Nicole's child were sleeping at home when she was killed. While their mother was brutally attacked outside the Brentwood home, children Nicole and O.J. slept at home. Number 4. O.J. subsequently seen kissing Nicole's body. O.J. Simpson entered his ex-wife funeral among media fans. Number 5. OG writing what many people believe in a Swedish note. Before OG lost the income law speaks on the white brosco that is a hallmark of this story. He wrote a busy note. Nicole that discovered the scene. They lay alone for a house before they were found by the dog. Number 3. Nicole were sleeping at home when she was killed. While the mother was brutally attacked outside the Redwood home, children Nicole and OG sleep at home. Number 4. OG subtly seen kissing Nicole's body. OG Simpson entered his ex-wife funeral among media fans. Number 5. OG writing what many people believe in a Swedish note. Before OG lost the income law speaks on the white brosco that is a hallmark of this story. He wrote a busy note.
Good morning to Miss Fatin. I am Uma Mageswaran, son of Rajendran from CSI 212 program. Today I would like to talk about the conclusion of O.J. Simpson's case. This conclusion can be justified as there was a large amount of evidence at the crime scene and corresponding evidence at Simpson's property and within his car. Also, there was evidence in the form of witness statements which proved that Simpson's alibi for the time of the murders was not correct. Although it can be said that the conclusion come to by the investigation team were justified by the amount of the evidence which pointed of Simpson's guilt, the outcome of the case was that Simpson was acquitted. This was because of the murder of the mistake made throughout the investigation by different members of the investigation team enabled the jury to doubt Simpson's guilt. If Simpson was in fact guilty, this means that a murder was allowed to get away with it and his life as a free man. The recommendation for alternative conclusion would just be that the investigation process should have been carried more professionally following guidelines in order to ensure that mistakes were kept a minimum, and therefore this would mean that the integrity of the evidence collected would have been intact, and this would have more likely allowed the jury to come to the conclusion that the Simpsons were guilty. This would be because the evidence indicating Simpson's guilt would not have possibly been contaminated or would be reliable. Forensic science played a huge role in the O.J. Simpson's trial. Since the murder happened at night when there was no one around, the only way to determine what happened was to use forensic evidence. Both the evidence and the prosecution used forensic evidence to make their arguments stronger. The prosecution used forensic science to link multiple pieces of evidence to their claim that Simpsons had murdered Nicole. At the same time, the defense was able to find numerous faults in the manner in which the evidence was collected and analyzed. This raised considerable doubts on the validity of the result found. The defense will also be to manipulate the forensic evidence to convince the jury that the result were not accurate. If there had been no forensic evidence, the outcome of this trial might have been ended very differently. Without the forensic evidence, in the trial would have been mostly based on the assumption without a factual basis or race. For more in-depth research on this case, I would recommend considering the other factors that affected the case, like race, money, and the media. Also considers O.J. Simpson's book If I Did, in which he explored reason why he did or did not kill Nicole Simpson. For more in-depth research on forensic science, And crime, I would recommend other famous case studies where forensic science has helped shape the outcome. And that's on the conclusion, miss, and thank you.